Clerk of the course, Brian Hoskins, is ready to show the 5-second board for the start of round 6 of the AA Fleetcare Touring Car Series. Once again, the BMWs have got off to terrific starts. Race cam action from the McCleary Opel, and he had a look at getting past teammate Mike Briggs, who once more was a little slow up the line. It's the charge of the heavy brigade into the first corner with the BMWs out in front. Oh, problems for Khalil de Villiers and the BP Nissan. The Nissan took a heavy thump from McCleary, who took to the grass, and Radisys and White have taken advantage of the situation to pick up some early places. The Sassel Ford and the Minolta Camry have moved ahead of de Villiers, and McCleary also took a thump up the backside and is trailing body parts as Dion Joubert leads Sean van der Linde into the hairpin for the first time. More hairpin action from the de Villiers race cam with White ahead of McCleary and Radisys. The New Zealander gave McCleary a little nudge there. The Opel was a little out of shape for a moment or two, but up in front, it's a repeat of round 5 with Dion Joubert leading his BMW Envirocar teammate Sean van der Linde, with Mike Briggs third in the Opel Vectra. Joubert leads van der Linde with Briggs third. Mike White is fourth, McCleary fifth, and Radisys sixth, followed by de Villiers and the two Rothmans Audis and Sarel van der Merwe in the second Sassel Ford Mondeo. Cozy Swanepoel leads the Class B brigade ahead of Duncan Voss, Hein Latergan and Don Brains. One lap down, and Radisys picks up a place as he moves past Grant McCleary in the Opel Vectra. The world champion is up into 5th position behind Joubert, van der Linde, Briggs and White. Khalil de Villiers is 6th in the Nissan Sentra, but looks to be struggling a bit and may have picked up some serious damage in the first corner bumping and barging. The McCleary Opel is also looking a little worse for wear. It is starting to get a little dark at Aldo Scribante as we go to the rear-facing race cam on the Joubert BMW Envirocar. Once again, van der Linde is riding shotgun for his teammate with championship leader Mike Briggs breathing down his neck. Van der Linde did a great job for Joubert and his team by keeping Briggs at bay in round 5. Sean van der Linde is under tremendous pressure. He's got a little wide, and Briggs has seen his chance. Briggs is up on the inside of the BMW. Van der Linde is forced up onto the curbing, and Mike Briggs is into second place. Now, race cam action from Mike White in 4th place in the Minolta Camry, and he also has his problems as Paul Radisys comes through on the inside of the Sassel Ford Mondeo. Positions are changing in the top 5, and now Joubert leads Briggs with van der Linde 3rd, Radisys 4th, and White 5th. Briggs is the hometown favourite, and the crowd is going wild. They want to see him notch up his first touring car win at Scribante. Mike Briggs has managed to do what he could not do in round 5, and that is get past the BMW Envirocar of reigning South African champion Sean van der Linde. That will be a major boost for Briggs, and now he can concentrate solely on hauling in race leader Dion Joubert. For his part, van der Linde will be intent on putting as much pressure as he can on the Opel, but Briggs is gradually closing in on Joubert and is starting to edge away from van der Linde. Tyre wear will again be a factor in this race, and the leaders will be trying to drive as smoothly as they can to preserve rubber. Storm clouds are building up around Scribante, and the track will have cooled down, but there is still a long way to go in this race. Now that he's got past Mike White's Camry, world champion Paul Radisys looks to be on a charge in the Sassel Ford Mondeo. Radisys has closed the gap on the leaders with White ahead of McCleary and one of the Rothmans Audis. More race cam action from the Joubert car, and here comes Briggs in the Opel Vectra. Briggs is having a go down the inside. Joubert will squeeze him out, but Mike Briggs is on the charge. These are testing times for race leader Dion Joubert. Mike Briggs has signalled his intentions, and now all the pressure is on Joubert, who no longer has the cushion provided by teammate Sean van der Linde between him and Briggs. It's getting darker and darker at Aldo Scribante, and Mike Briggs is really starting to pile on the pressure. This is tremendous race cam action, and Joubert has a fight on his hands. A Nissan is into the pits. It looks like Khalil de Villiers. He took a heavy thump from Grant McCleary in the first corner and may have broken something on the car. The Nissan mechanics were ready for action, but Khalil is getting out of the car, and that's a blow for the young man from Cape Town. One of the BP Nissans is out there, but there are still battles going on the circuit, and Cozy Swanepoel is again out in front in Class B. Swanepoel still has to be beaten this season and leads Duncan Voss, Hein Latergan and Don Brains in the Opel Astra. Race cam action is from the Accord Nissan Sentra, driven by former South African drivers' champion Duncan Voss, who is currently lying second to Swanepoel in the Class B Championship. Back to the leaders, and once again, Mike Briggs is climbing all over race leader Dion Joubert. The weather looks ominous, and there could be rain before the end of this race, but matters are starting to look a little ominous for race leader Dion Joubert. He's under enormous pressure, and this time, teammate Sean van der Linde is not there to shield him from Mike Briggs. Tremendous race cam pictures from the Joubert car, but unless something happens to the Opel Vectra, the pressure on the race leader from Briggs is not going to go away. They have a back marker up ahead, and this could be the chance Briggs has been waiting for. The back marker is Nico van Rensburg in the BMW running in Class B, but he is an experienced driver and has moved right out of the way. Race cam action this time from the van der Linde BMW, and he has also passed van Rensburg. Joubert still leads Briggs, but he could run into more problems at the end of the straight. Joubert, with headlights blazing in the gloom, leads Briggs, with van der Linde third, and Radishes is making up ground in fourth. And here comes Briggs again. He got a tow from Joubert down the main straight, and this time he has the momentum to force his way past the BMW. And Mike Briggs is in the lead, and the hometown fans are going wild. AA Fleetcare Championship leader Mike Briggs in the Opel Vectra has hit the front in round 6. And now the big question is whether or not Dion Joubert and Sean van der Linde in the BMW Enviro cars can fight back. Paul Radishes is also making up ground in the Sassel Ford Mondeo, and we could yet have a grandstand finish to this race. Radishes has broken away from Mike White in the Minolta Camry, and the world champion is on a charge and rapidly closing the distance between himself and Sean van der Linde in third place. We're coming up to the halfway mark in this race, and Mike Briggs will be conscious of the fact that he's never won a touring car race on his home circuit. He won't want to do anything silly now that he's in front of the BMWs, and will be concentrating on driving smoothly with no mistakes. The halfway mark and the race order is Briggs, Joubert, van der Linde, Radishes and White. There's a big gap between Radishes and White, who is Grant McCleary starting to challenge, and behind them it's the Aberdeen Rothmans Audi. Briggs looks to be inching away from the two BMWs, but rain is still threatening, and that could change everything. While Mike Briggs leads the race, Opel Vectra teammate Grant McCleary is on another mission, working his way through the field. He's rapidly closed in on Mike White in the Minolta Toyota Camry. Brake lights are starting to stand out like beacons in the glowing gloom, and McCleary is right on the tail of the Toyota. McCleary will be working out a plan of action to take care of White. They're approaching the hairpin, and this could be the spot where McCleary makes his move under braking. White has gone very wide onto the marbles on the outside of the circuit, and McCleary is through, with Aberdeen also trying to find a way around the Camry. McCleary is up into 5th place, and White has more problems in the form of Chris Aberdeen in the Rothmans Audi. With Aberdeen and Terry Moss in the second Audi right on his tail, White takes a defensive line, but this is a battle that's going to be worth watching. McCleary is clear of the trio, and in the pits is the second BP Nissan Sentra, driven by Nick Duval.
It wasn't our day today. The second race now, I was taken off just blatantly by one of the Audis, which bent the suspension and the steering arm, and it wasn't worth going on, because the arm may break off any time, which can create a big accident.
This is the Class B battle, and a huge dice is developing behind Cozy Swanepoel, who is still out in front in the BMW. Duncan Voss, Hein Larchen and Don Brains are locked together in a terrific tussle. Whoopsie! And Duncan Voss has a rush of blood there as he tried a bold maneuver up the inside of the hairpin. Voss and Larchen have gone farming, but they're back on the circuit, and Cozy Swanepoel is unperturbed and looks to be on his way to his 6th win in 6 outings. Swanepoel got the BMW a little sideways there, but that is his style. Back now with the leaders, and Briggs is still out in front of the BMWs, and both Joubert and van der Linde have their headlights on in the gathering gloom. Race cam action is from the Joubert BMW, and van der Linde almost let the BMW get away from him. That was a close call for the South African champion, and a sure indication that tyres are starting to go off a little. That was a rare mistake from van der Linde. He's lost ground on Joubert, and he's starting to look just a little bit ragged. Sean van der Linde has had a couple of big moments in the BMW Enviro car on this lap and is starting to lose touch with teammate Dion Joubert and Mike Briggs up front. He must be 75 metres or so behind Joubert, who's trying to get back on terms with Briggs, and it looks as though Paul Radishes in the Sassel Ford Mondeo is also in a spot of bother. Grant McCleary in the second Opel Vectra has closed right up on Radishes. There was a sizable gap between Radishes in fourth place and the chasing pack a couple of laps ago, but McCleary is right up with the New Zealander and starting to pressurise the world champion. Radishes has Swanepoel up ahead of him, but the Class B leader is keeping well out of the way, and Radishes definitely looks to be in trouble. Radishes looks to have enough straight line speed to stay ahead of McCleary down the main straight, but the Mondeo cannot shake off McCleary, who's starting to pile on the pressure. Mike White is also in the thick of the action, and right behind him is Chris Aberdeen in the Rothmans Audi. McCleary is looking for a way around the Mondeo, and he could fancy his chances at the hairpin, even though he went off there in round 5 while trying to outsmart Radishes. That's the hairpin up ahead, and what has McCleary got in mind under braking? Radishes is hugging the inside line. McCleary has got a little wider and is looking to sneak through as they exit the corner, but Radishes clinging on to fourth place. Radishes definitely has a problem of some kind. He's held up McCleary, and this has allowed Mike White in the Minolta Camry and Chris Aberdeen in the Rothmans Audi to close right up on the Mondeo and the Vectra. This is a terrific scrap while it lasts, and now Mike White is right on McCleary's rather battered back bumper, and this little battle could be settled on the main straight past the pits. Mike White's race cam is picking up the action up ahead as the Opel Vectra moves up alongside the Sassel Ford Mondeo. McCleary has the inside line. White has followed McCleary, and the pair of them have nipped through on the inside of the Sassel Ford Mondeo, and Radishes has dropped from 4th to 6th and now has to contend with Chris Aberdeen in the Rothmans Audi. Now the battle for 4th and 5th is between Grant McCleary and Mike White. With Radishes out of the way, McCleary has a clear circuit ahead of him, but with just over 4 laps to go, he'll really have to go some to close up on the leading trio, with Mike Briggs still out in front of Dion Joubert and Sean van der Linde in the BMW Enviro cars. Mike White in the Minolta Toyota Camry is doing his best to stay with the Opel Vectra, but McCleary is slowly but steadily putting distance between himself and the Camry. It's still very gloomy, but the rain has held off as we go into the final stages of another tremendous race. Mike Briggs is moving closer and closer to his first touring car win at Aldo Scribante. Dion Joubert and Sean van der Linde are still doing the chasing, but time is running out for the BMW pair. There's a big gap between the front 3 and McCleary in 4th place, with Mike White followed by Chris Aberdeen and Terry Moss in the Rothmans Audis. Back in the pits, and the Paul Radishes Mondeo is being wheeled into the Sassel Ford garage.
A little disappointed at the start. We got involved with the Nissan and the Audi come together, and the Nissan spun. And by the time I got that sorted out, the top 3 had disappeared. So I managed to haul them back in, but when I got to them, my steering broke and was going up and down and in and out, and I couldn't really see the point in carrying on. Really, it was just too hard to figure out where it was going to sort of start off to next.
Bad luck for Paul Radishes in his second outing in South Africa this season. But it looks to be all over bar the shouting for Mike Briggs in the Opel Vectra. He just has to keep the car on the circuit for the next couple of laps to make sure of his 5th win in 6 starts this season. Briggs has put some breathing space between himself and Dion Joubert in 2nd place, with Sean van der Linde a little further back in 3rd. Grant McCleary is in a lonely 4th place in the second Opel Vectra, having shaken off the attentions of Mike White. McCleary has a car up ahead, but it's a Class B backmarker, Nico van Rensburg, and he won't present any problems for the Opel. All 3 front runners now have their headlights burning. It's starting to get very dark, and rain is not far off, but fortunately has stayed away for round 6 of the AA Fleetcare Touring Car Championship. Mike Briggs in the Opel Vectra and Dion Joubert and Sean van der Linde in the BMW Enviro cars are now on their last lap, and Briggs has this one in the bag. This is going to be his first ever touring car victory on his home circuit, and sections of the partisan crowd are already starting to celebrate. Briggs is through the hairpin for the last time, and both Joubert and van der Linde look to have given up the chase. Once he got ahead of the two BMWs, Briggs was in control. The Briggs fans are already starting to celebrate. The BMWs put a slight dent in the Opel Racing armour in round 5 of the AA Fleetcare Touring Car Championship, but the series leader has hit back in emphatic style in round 6. Mike Briggs takes the checkered flag ahead of Dion Joubert and Sean van der Linde. 5 wins in 6 starts says it all for Mike Briggs, with a return to form for the BMWs. Grant McCleary, Mike White and Chris Aberdeen were all in the points, with Kersey Swanepoel still unbeaten in Class B. Other than a few roles being reversed, the victory celebrations had a familiar look about them.
It's always nice to win, but you know, I've never won in front of my home crowd, I think, for about 4 years now. And when we went out there today and I saw the support that I have here in my hometown, I really felt bad after the first heat. You never enjoy losing, but I really felt that I owed the guys something. So I put in a really hard charge, and it was a fantastic race. Both guys gave me the room that I needed. They were fair, and at the end of the day, it was just what I needed for the PE crowd.
I didn't have a good start. I was blocked. It was a bit of an accident on the start. Then Duncan got by. I was a bit worried about that, and there was another bit of an accident on the first bend. Then I got by him, and we made a few adjustments to my car, and I had better power. Went very well, and I had a few runs to the line.
AA Fleetcare is proud of its association with Audi, BMW, Ford, Nissan, Opel, Toyota and the action-packed SA Touring Car Championship. The AA Fleetcare Touring Car Championship, Africa's most exciting racing formula.